So I've been out of flying for quite a while now, and just recently I've been getting back into it just a little bit. I picked up a Nano QX a few weeks back, and I've really been enjoying that. But I wanted a little something larger so I could fly it outside and still be able to see. And I wanted something with a little bit of lights so that I could get a little better orientation from a distance. I originally looked into building something myself, but the price and the worry about fixing things led me into getting another RTR, or in this case, Ready to Fly. I previously had an MQX, so a 180 was a little bit too close to the MQX for me, so I decided to go to the 200 QX. So I picked it up, and now I'm going to see what's inside.
Team Baxter.
As I said, I picked this 200 QX over building my own or the 180. Building my own just seemed like a little bit more than I wanted to deal with. It doesn't seem necessarily hard, but with a brand like Blade, I can just go to the store and buy replacement parts and not have to worry about special ordering or anything like that. So that's the convenience factor for me. Also, with the 180, I chose the 200 because I have the option of aerobatic flight down the road if I ever decide I want to get that far. Also, the 200 QX seems much more powerful to me. This has a brushless power system versus the 180, which is a brush system similar to the MQX, which I felt had fine, adequate performance. But being a few years later, I wanted to kind of get to something a little more powerful and something that'll keep me for a longer period of time. So enough talking, let me turn this around and get her open. Pop that factory seal, and so as usual with the Blade stuff, you have a manual and a recessed area on top. I think that's a charge lead. And you have a couple tools and a couple screws in the manual. This is pretty typical with Blade. All of the other Blade stuff I have is packaged this exact same way, and I'm sure when I pop this top half of styrofoam off, my quad will be sitting right there. So there's a quad with a couple extra propellers, couple extra props, a charger, one battery, and the power for the charger. Pull the quad out, set it aside. I'm already not digging that the landing gear has to be attached. That's not going to make it easy for me to store it when not in use. So, but anyway, set this aside and look at what's in the box. So under this tape we have the landing gear, which I'll be putting on and off when I go to store this. A little plastic landing gear, a little stiff plastic there. I have a 2-cell LiPo 800 milliamp. And I also, when I bought this heli, I went ahead and got another LiPo just so I'd have two. This should give me roughly 12 minutes of flight time altogether. Probably gonna get another two more of these. Give me about 20 minutes, and that's about all the flying time I need at once. So of course I have the battery, the charger cord, and under that is a small little hex. It's probably to take the motors off or something, a little hex driver or whatever. Put that back because I'm sure I'll need that at some point. Bet this is a E-flite Selectra. have a couple more of these that I use. Probably just have to get the appropriate lead to use my other ones. This one is actually not selectable. These other models I have are actually selectable. This is an older model. I'm not sure if these are compatible, but it seems like sort of the same deal. So got the charger, and then of course your extra props, and that's about it in the box. I'll move that out of the way. Look at this quad. So it's got a nice little weight to it. It actually seems not so much smaller than the 180. Looked quite a bit smaller when I was originally looking at it. This, however, quite a bit larger than the Nano QX. Got a lot heavier, sturdier feel to it. I don't know how much damage this will take. It doesn't look like it's particularly equipped to take much damage, but with Blade it's always easy to get new parts and such. Not much really else to say with this. Get this landing gear screwed on here, get my battery charged, and get this 200 QX in the air. So that was a quick little look at the 200 QX from Blade, Horizon Hobby product. I'll be using this 200 QX with my own radio, DX6i. There is instructions in the manual on how to set your radio up for you. They have directions for each particular radio, well, a lot of the Spektrum radios, so that's pretty helpful. So a quick check on the battery meter on the battery that came out of the box gives me a reading of almost 75%, 72% there. So I'm still going to charge this battery, but I have enough power to go ahead and get it bound and see if we can get the prop spinning. So I'm going to go ahead and flip this over, open the battery tray. Came off pretty easy. There's my lead. I'm assuming the battery fits in there. So go ahead and slide the battery in, tuck that balance lead in real well, and get this power. Okay. So my radio is on, so I'm going to try this again. Turn my radio off. Now I'm going to plug this battery in, get this turned over so it's level. Now I'm assuming that's in bind mode. I'm doing this without reading the manual. I don't recommend doing it this way, but so I'm going to hold the trainer button up and power. Had to check and make sure that that was on the right channel. So hold the trainer button up, and while I'm doing that, power the radio on. Puts my radio in the bind mode. Go ahead and let go of the trainer button. And it looks like we're bound up. So I'm giving slight throttle, and I've got nothing right now. So I'm going to try to bind again before I consult the manual. Sometimes these things happen. And actually this time I'm going to turn her over. So once again, I'm assuming she's in bind mode. So this time I held it until the blue light went solid, and still I have nothing. So I need to go to the manual. So the binding process turned out to be somewhat of a pain. I had ended up having to take it back to the hobby shop. It's been programmed at the shop. It's no good if I ever have any problems, because I don't know how they programmed it, but turn my radio on. Plug the heli up. So we got the bind now, and now I'm supposed to so apparently they've got it set up so that starts it, which is I don't know if that's good or bad, but I'll get it figured out. You can hear this is a beast. So yeah, let's get this off camera and get it straightened out. That's the 200X from Blade. So the power of this thing is pretty much unbelievable. I'm learning to deal with the way that my hobby shop has set my radio up. I never had a quad fly like this, but it's not too hard. Pretty easy to get used to. Now, so just the left, right. Gotta make sure the throttle's all the way down and throttle cut. A little different, but I'll get it figured out. This thing is such a beast.